Well, you know what time it is? It's time for Umamusume Aston Machans. In real life lore, I really don't know what she looks like, but let's get going. Oh, is it that girl in the background over there?
それでは改めまして
It
紹
is!
介をしましょう。こんにちは、アストン・マーチャンです。
Aston
よろしく
Machan.
ね。
She has such a sweet voice.
In Umamusume, the drive is always present to obtain an ever-growing pool of Umas to race. Even if a player is unable to obtain a specific character, information regarding them can still be found in the game's trainer notes. Though a brief
Oh.
overview, with some features still locked, the player can still view Umas they've yet to obtain, with most being unreleased in the global version. These Umas are added if a player has either encountered or raced against them in their careers. This is the case for all but one Uma, who doesn't appear unless pulled. Until that
Really?
point, she ceases to exist in that world. So why is this the case? Why does this Umamusume remain hidden despite the strong urge to be remembered? Who is this Uma? And what was the career of the racehorse she was modeled after? Today, I intend to dive into these topics and present to you a story of regret and remembrance, a rivalry that never was, and a memory fleetly fading with time. This
Oh,
is the
that's sad.
story of Aston Machan, a legacy that will never be forgotten. This video will
hope
act
so.
as one of two parts covering both the real-life history and Umamusume version of Aston Machan and her career.
Oh,
This video will
okay.
mainly focus on real-life events with some Umamusume tie-ins. Machan's story is a roller coaster, and I plan to release a full in-game analysis when she's available for global players, so they may experience it for themselves.
Oh, she's so
First
cute.
and foremost, let's tackle the main topic at hand. Why is Aston Machan presented in the first episode of Umamusume's third season? Specifically, with shots revolving around Daiwa Scarlet and Vodka. She has no speaking roles and just stares into the camera. Aston Machan was active during the same time as Daiwa Scarlet and Vodka.
This is gonna break my heart, isn't it? I have a feeling that that's gonna be the case. Oh gosh, I'm kind of scared, but at the same time, I'm like, okay, time to learn about a new horse that's gonna break my heart and make me remember them for the rest of my life. Also, special thanks to Anonymous for requesting and funding this. I'll sponsor a link to the pin if you want to request a video
As her
yourself. Skip the
history
queue.
unfolds in this video, you will see why she slowly was forgotten. Every Uma present in the game have their real-life identities acquired through licensing agreements with various horse owners. This is often
Yes.
facilitated directly by the JRA. Some owners will simply allow their horses to be represented, while others will have specific requests they'd like implemented in the game and anime series. For Aston Machan, her Umamusume counterpart was supervised heavily by her original owner. Machan is the
Oh.
only Uma to break the fourth wall in this series, directly
Really?
staring into the camera or shuffling her way into shots if the camera pans or cuts away from her. This is an attempt for her to never be forgotten.
She's
A
so
statement
cute.
which she's absolutely obsessed with. During instances where Machan is the main focus of a scene in the game, she'll always be staring straight at the camera, as if she's not speaking to any other in-world characters, but instead to you as the player, directly requesting you to remember her and not be forgotten. Aston Machan was a mare born on March 5th, 2004, at the Shadai farm in
Wow,
Hokkaido.
2004?
Her sire was Admire Kozin, and her dam Rustling Copes. Kozin was a two-time G1 winner both at the Asahi High Futurity Stakes and the Yasuda Kinen. Aston Machan would be among the first crop of Admire Kozin. From birth, the farm personnel had evaluated Machan as a horse of great potential. Due to this,
A horse
Machan
of
was
great
placed in one
potential.
of many JRA select sales, where promising foals are put up for sale to be acquired by various owners. It was highly believed that with the promising evaluation, Machan would be purchased in no time. What was unexpected was the individual who would purchase Machan. Even with an impressive evaluation, initially, Machan found no potential buyers. This was mainly due to the fact of her
What?
being the first crop of closing offspring. No previous data was available, which deferred many potential buyers. Eventually, Aston
Oh,
Machan
okay.
was purchased by Dr. Mayumi Tosa, who was a female physician. Machan would be According to available records, the first horse owned and raced by Mayumi, who at the time was still a widely unknown name in the world of horse racing. The name Aston Machan comes from a combination from the British luxury car brand Aston Martin, alongside Mayumi's school nickname of Machan. Mayumi was a fan of James Bond, and wanted her newly acquired mare to run as fast as the car driven by him, the Aston
That's
Martin.
cute.
Aston Machan, following the acquisition by Mayumi, would be placed in the Rito Training Center, where she'd eventually be paired with Sei Ishizaka. Like many others, Ishizaka was skeptical of Machan's potential, being the first crop of Kozine offspring. During the training that followed, and despite the mass skepticism, Machan showed great potential. She was incredibly light on her feet, allowing her to show excellent speed as training progressed. Machan was also a fast learner, being among the most advanced group in terms of progress, leading to
This background music is making me think that something bad's gonna happen, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm just waiting for that. The heartbreak already. But it seems like Machan is the type that's always placed below in terms of like potential. Oh, what I mean by that is it's so hard to explain. It's kind of like she's passed over compared to other horses, even though she does have potential. And that's the biggest thing that I feel like is such a shame at the moment. But then again, maybe it's a blessing for the owner for Machan because she gets to have her first horse. But I guess we'll see.
her 2-year-old year. Just like her name, both Mayumi and Ishizaka believe that Machan could perform well even in state-graded races. On July 22, 2006, Aston Machan entered the Kokura racecourse for her debut. Though Machan showed promising speed during training, it was still unclear what racing aptitude suited her best. For this race, Machan would also be ridden by the renowned jockey Yutaka Take.
It's always
Machan
Yutaka.
would be second favorite, even with Take as her jockey and her impressive speed. The favorite was Charmant Rennie, jockeyed by Ryuji Wada. Though second favorite, the odds difference was minimal between the two racers. Take decided to use this as an opportunity to teach Machan how to race, easing her into the scene rather than forcing her to go all out. A racehorse can show promising talent, but having an exceptional jockey can only elevate that performance. Over the course of the race, Take kept steady pace of Machan, and on the final homestretch, a fierce battle erupted between the two favorites. Machan would ultimately lose this race to Rennie, and a new discovery would be unveiled about Machan as well. At the final homestretch, Machan, as Take recounts, seemed startled and began losing focus, drifting outward as the race progressed. This caused Machan to be overtaken. She struggled with concentration, and this was something that her trainer took note of, aiming to help her overcome this hurdle alongside her. Even though she placed second, it was clear that Machan could perform well in short distance races. Due to this, the following three
That makes sense because at least in short distances, you don't have to focus for so long compared to long ones. At least that's my assumption as to why she's wait, mare or is it female or male? I can't remember. Well, okay, so this horse is probably better off in short distances because of that, because you know, shorter time means shorter focuses. So that makes sense. Although I do wonder what the horse could have been distracted by. I guess the other horses?
Races Machan would participate in would range from 1,200 to 1,400 meters, and the results only act to solidify her strength in short distance racing. In her second race, the 2-year-old maiden, Machan would hang in second place and alongside Wada, overtake the leading position, securing a victory by a half length.
Ooh, still that's good.
Machan's third race, something extraordinary quickly unfolded. Samejima, a relatively new jockey, kept Machan in second place, pacing her until the final homestretch. This strategy was the same Samejima had used with another horse of Ishizaka's stable, Paradise Bird. As they approached the final 200 meters, Machan challenged a first place position, and before long, overtook the lead, securing a victory. To the audience, Machan was strong. She blitzed past the leading position, but she didn't look like she was anywhere near her limit. Machan's fourth race, the Fantasy Stakes, would once more pair her with Take. This race was Machan's longest distance in her career.
Ooh, is
being
that a good thing or bad
1,400
thing?
meters. Now, before you go commenting that the change in aptitude is minor, it plays a great impact specifically on horses adept to shorter aptitudes. Unlike sprint races, which Machan had been participating in, a horse cannot simply run at full speed from start to finish without issue.
Yeah, that
Mile
would be
distances and greater
difficult.
act to test a horse's cardiovascular endurance and energy conservation.
Oh, so staple chase course is actually shorter, but there's just more things. Okay, I was kind of wondering about that. But okay, so there's the dirt course out here, which is longer than a staple chase, and then the longest, the main course is the long. That is a long as heck. Holy.
For horses with limited stamina, burst acceleration, or haste to run away, mile races and beyond are simply out of reach. The media, who had praised Machan for her speed, were now divided with her participation in the fantasy stakes. As the race began,
seems
it was
kinda-
visibly clear that Take was trying to keep Machan calm, forcing her to retain a steady pace. Had Take not
That's
attempted
probably
to control
smart.
Machan, she would have surged to the front as she'd done many times before. Even a
Yeah.
well-seasoned jockey like Take struggled to keep Machan restrained until they reached the final homestretch.
And
As they
then
approached the final
she can
straight,
go.
Take allowed Machan to run freely, and she did not disappoint, boasting a display of explosive acceleration.
Go,
Machan easily
Machan!
broke away from the rest of the pack and won the fantasy stakes by 5 lengths over the second place recipient, Excuse. This wasn't
Wow.
only a staggering victory, but also a record-setting time of 1 minute 20.3 seconds. This victory not only relieved Take, but also Aston Machan's trainer and owner. This 200-meter difference didn't cause Machan a devastating loss, but instead provided a glimpse into a bright future to come in her career. In the game,
That's true.
following this race,
Okay, so it's a mare.
Aston Machan will ask the player, "Did your heart race? Were you excited?" The simple
Yes.
answer is yes. The fans, Take, Mayumi, and Ishizaka were all overjoyed by Machan's stellar performance. Take
Machan,
would
you're
later
so
comment
great.
on Machan's performance in the fantasy stakes and his reasoning behind holding Machan back for so long. At this point, the media was already drumming up Aston Machan's name. She was an incredibly strong filly, and many believed that she had the capabilities of winning the upcoming Oka Sho, the first
Ooh,
leg of
Oka
the
Sho.
Triple Tiara. The record time was already impressive, but what was even more staggering to witness was Machan's ability to distance herself by 5 lengths with ease over a mere 100.
That is
meters. Take would state that
crazy.
he was all too aware of
The
Machan's
distance.
inability to retain focus, and due to this, he'd wait until the last possible moment to allow her to fully burst forward. Machan had a tendency to let her mind wander, so Take did all he could to remain.
You know, Machan, you're very relatable in that sense. I feel like a lot of people could relate to that. Just not being able to focus for too long and then just making your mind drift away. I feel like that's very understandable, especially since there's like so many things going on in a racetrack. I assume that's probably why Machan's unable to like completely focus, especially if she does have the habit of, having her mind drift away somewhere.
And lead Machan for a majority of the race, though Take would state that Machan appeared to have eased her way into racing, and this race in particular did yield results. He also would state that as the competition got stronger, Machan's lack of concentration would be her greatest weakness. Take would
Yeah.
continue, addressing Machan's aptitude. Though she was fast in the final 100 meters, Take observed that Machan simply wanted to rush forward, and due to this, he concluded that her best distance would most likely remain at 1200 meters. A month
1200
later, on
meters.
December 3rd, 2006, Aston Machan would participate in the Hashin Juvenile Fillies, her first participation in a G1 race. Once more, Take would take the reins, ready to guide Machan to another victory and overcome her lack of concentration. This
Hopefully
race
he
would be
can.
100 meters in length, and due to Machan's previous fantasy stakes win, her team was confident that she could display her monstrous speed even with a 400-meter difference over her preferred aptitude. Machan would be the favorite to win, sitting at a
Ooh.
1.6 to 1 odds. As the race began, right out of the gate,
So she's
Machan
9.
attempted to surge forward.
No,
Even with
Machan,
her
control yourself.
experience, Take still struggled to manage her, eventually calming her and positioning themselves in 5th place along the inside of the course.
Okay, that's
Fans are seeing
good.
Once more, both Machan's speed and Take's expertise in action. Sticking close to the rails until the final corner, Take kept control of Machan, and down the final straight, Take broke through the leading group and Machan surged forward. Just
Yeah,
like the fantasy
Machan.
stakes, they began distancing the lead horses. But unlike the fantasy stakes, this time, a new challenger would emerge. From the far outside pursued a Dark Bay filly, one displaying a monstrous spurt to catch the leading position. Soon, a head-to-head duel began between Machan and this Dark Bay filly. And
Who is it?
ultimately,
Can't see.
Machan would lose by a neck. The horse who
It's
challenged
too blurry.
Machan's incredible speed and proved victorious was named Vodka. Vodka,
Oh,
who
that
at
was
the time
Vodka?
was still widely unknown, was a racehorse capable
Dang,
of
look at that.
performances, utilizing
Vodka
longer
looks
strides
so,
inherited
like
from her
the
sire,
fur and
having no
everything
gimlet.
looks really
Her
nice and
display
shiny. The
potential
coat looks shiny, that's what it was.
Machan in this race. Vodka wasn't the favorite, but sat 4th to win this race. Vodka also had recently entered the racing scene, only debuting a month before racing off against Machan. This race would be the
So Machan probably has like really bad luck then, huh? Because I think if Vodka and probably Daiwa Scarlet didn't exist, then probably Machan would overtake the scene, right? But most likely because of Vodka and probably Daiwa Scarlet, that's probably no longer going to be the case. At least that's my assumption, because it just feels that way.
beginning of a dominant presence in the racing world by Vodka, one that would redefine her generation and leave a lasting impact on the world of horse racing. Vodka was strong, but her jockey, Hirofumi Shi, was also a well-seasoned jockey in his own regard. She had ridden Agnes Digital in the 2001 Autumn Tenno show, ending the legendary reign of the Overlord, TM Opera O. Reflecting on this defeat, the normally calm and collected Take would comment, "The opponent was just too strong. She's strong." Aston Machan's training assistant, Kazuya Ueda, also would state, Machan, was born in the wrong era. Though
Yeah.
these words sadly would hold true. Aston Machan being born not only in the same era as Vodka, but also Daiwa Scarlet.
Yeah, that's what I
Two
thought.
names that you're familiar with, so it's quite ironic how the name Aston Machan remained foreign until you watch this video. It's a perfect example of Ueda's comment. Aston Machan was neither weak nor incapable. In fact, she was far from it. Although she was strong, the juvenile fillies race proved that there were opponents far stronger, ones who would lead
That makes
on to
me
define
sad.
their era. Trainer Ishizaka would take this loss as a lesson, confident Machan could still handle 1600-meter races, and still had high hopes for her 3-year-old racing year. Their next aim would be the Oka Sho. but the
Maybe better
question still
results.
remained. Could Machan win over such strong opponents? With 2006
Yeah.
coming to a close, Machan would race 5 total times, placing first in 3 and second in 2, an impressive record for her 2-year-old year. As 2007 began, Aston Machan would race in the Fillies Review held on March 11th.
Okay, so
This race, alongside
Machan
the
is
Tulip Show,
12.
is regarded as one of the
Where's
2 major
12?
trial races for the Oka Sho. The review is 1,400 meters in length, 200 meters
Hard
shorter
to
than the juvenile
see.
Fillies race Machan
Oh,
participated
wait,
in
is
the
that 12?
previous year. Machan's rival, Vodka, had also won the Tulip Show the previous week, setting the stage for Machan to prove herself in the second trial race leading up to the Oka Sho. Unsurprisingly, Take remained as Machan's jockey, and Machan once more was the overwhelming favorite to win. Take, just
That's not
like he did
surprising.
previously, restrained Machan from bursting forward straight out of the gate, easing her into 3rd place as the race continued. Allowing
That's
Machan
good.
to fully spurt down the final straight, she quickly overtook the lead effortlessly, claiming a victory by 2.5 lengths over the 2nd place recipient, Amano Cherry Run. Even with
Yeah.
this victory and redemption from her previous defeat, something didn't sit right with Take. After the race, he commented that Machan has too much speed. Though it could be seen as a compliment, it was not a statement of unqualified praise. Take didn't simply state that Machan was fast, but the fact that she was too fast. Her uncontrollable
that
urge
sounds
to run at full
dangerous.
speed straight out of the gate consumed far too much stamina, making increased distances difficult for her to overcome. According to Take, there were many things Machan still needed to learn in racing. The Oka Sho will be on the outer track and the competition fierce. Even with
Oof.
these comments, trainer Ishizaka would still hold hope in winning the Oka Sho. When faced with the
15, okay,
media,
see.
he advised him to share the reality of Machan's situation and not simply her triumphs. This was an ever-growing uphill battle, and despite being best suited for 1200-meter races, her team pushed forward to have her compete in greater distances.
Is
As
that a
the
good
Oka Sho
idea,
rapidly
though?
approached, horse racing journalists analyzed the filly rankings and produced their findings. At the top spot, undisputed, stood
Yeah, that
Vodka
makes sense.
as an
Vodka.
overwhelming favorite with 99 points. Below Vodka was Daiwa Scarlet, standing at
Oh,
94,
93.
and below both of them stood Aston Machan, tied in third place
83.
with 83 points, with Excuse and Nishino Charmy.
It's kind of sad though, because like usually people only remember the first two, but it's like always the third place that ends up getting the, I guess, leftover attention. And that's the sad way to put it, I guess. But it kind of just feels like they're just seen as whatever, instead of being appreciated for their efforts too and their achievements. Because it's not like Machan didn't achieve anything. You know, she did achieve first place multiple times before in her 2-year career. So it makes me feel kind of sad to see that, you know, she's not obviously as popular as like the other characters, or I guess the other horses in comparison, which makes sense since most people like to cheer on the winners rather than the ones that basically lose, right? It's more exciting for many people, is what I would assume. Also, if you're enjoying this so far, then be sure to hit the like and comment below and share my video with friends. Spread the fun. You can also get early and full access to all of my content here, including my podcasts, and by joining here on YouTube Squad, my squad at least.
Status as the main favorite for the Oka Sho remained unshaken.
So she
Scarlet,
is
who sat one
deemed
place under
a favorite.
Vodka, had only narrowly lost to her at the Tulip Show. Even so, Scarlet was still highly regarded due to her exceptional pedigree, being a granddaughter of Sunday Silence and the
Granddaughter of Sunday Silence? Wait, what?
And the progeny of Agnes Tachyon.
What?
As stated before, Machan, due to her sprinting aptitude, was simply born in the wrong generation.
She really
She
was.
wasn't adept to greater distances, and to top it all off, she shared the race course with two monsters of her generation.
She really
Even with her strength,
did.
Machan began to fade into their shadow.
No!
On April 8, 2007, Aston Machan would enter the race course against these two era-defining mares. Vodka, jockeyed by Hirofumi Shi, stood as the overwhelming fan favorite with a 1.4 to 1 odds. Aston
That makes
Machan,
sense.
once more jockeyed by Yutaka Take, stood second at a 5.2 to 1 odds. Under Machan was Daiwa Scarlet, jockeyed by Katsumi Ando, who stood at a 5.9 to 1 odds. It is important to note that in this race, the fourth horse, Shonan Talent, would stand at a staggering 34.7 to 1 odds, and fifth favorite, Emmy's Smile, stood at 44.6 to 1.
Wow!
It was obvious, even if evaluated lower than Vodka and Scarlet, many still saw Machan's potential to emerge victorious at the Oka Sho. The audience expected to see a fierce three-way battle for the finish, with these three favorites each pushing the other to their limit. The truth is, two would live up to that expectation, with one falling further behind in their shadow. This race in particular is a primary reason for Machan's appearance in Umamusume as a
makes me
background
sad.
character to Scarlet and Vodka, a ghost who never utters a single word, yet demands the viewers' undivided attention. Unlike previous races, Take wouldn't be able to restrain Machan. Showing her usual temperament, defying Take, Machan would run at full speed to second place approaching the final corner. Crossing into the final homestretch, Machan would drift further behind.
No!
Take, who had already expressed his concern with Machan on longer aptitudes, would once more comment that Machan continued to show sprinter tendencies. Had she run smoothly with the flow of Take's guidance, He had full belief that she could have contested both Vodka and Scarlet at the Oka Sho. Scarlet
That's
emerged
such
victorious,
a sad
with
thing.
Vodka narrowly taking second place. This would mark the shift in their generation, with Scarlet and Vodka trailblazing a legacy together, while Aston and Machan would be forced to follow a different path. It had become clear
No!
that Machan thrived in sprints, but the devastating loss at the Oka Sho only acted to solidify this thought. Even with Take at the reins, races beyond that aptitude were not suitable for Machan at all. After the
That's
Oka
true.
Sho, Aston Machan's team decided to give her a long break and plan for the future. This break would last from April to July in 2007.
Wow.
As Machan
It's pretty
rested,
long.
her rivals would continue to make history. Vodka would be the first mare in 64 years to win the Tokyo Yushun, the Japanese Derby, and Scarlet would not only win the Oka Sho, but would go on later in that year to win the Shuka Sho as well. Heeding Take's
Those two
previous
truly are
success with
rivals.
Machan, the path was set to pursue a career of only sprint races, staying true to Machan's natural aptitude. On
That's quite
August
smart.
12, 2007, Machan will return to the racing scene, participating in the Kitakyushu Kinen, a G3 sprint race. Her jockey this time was Yasunari Iwata, who had previously won his first graded race with Believe. Machan was the overwhelming favorite, sitting at a 1.8 to 1 odds. As the race began,
Please tell me you won.
Machan showed great promise, displaying to the audience the difference between her behavior in this race to her longer distance ones. She displayed her natural speed, and while other experienced sprinters struggled to push forward, Machan would continue her confident pace. As they hit the final home stretch, Machan would fall behind, with
What?
5 racers in total surpassing her. This ultimately resulted in Machan placing 6th, and left
What?
many questions for her team to tackle. This stage should have been ideal for her. So
Yeah.
why did she falter? Was this not her preferred aptitude? Was the team's guidance wrong? A dominating display in her 2-year-old year left one answer: the fact that she had matured early, and now her performance
Oh.
began to plateau. Lingering concerns also existed of overcorrection. Perhaps her time with Take and longer aptitudes resulted in mental instability. With lingering
Oh.
concerns, the team was forced to press onward to their main target, yet another G1 race, the Sprinter Stakes. On September 30th, 2007, that day would finally arrive.
Overcorrection,
This was Machan's
huh?
opportunity to redeem herself and prove her mastery in sprint races.
Come on,
In
Machan.
preparation for this race, Machan had practiced more on slope-based tracks, aiming to strengthen her body. Over time, her results became visibly clear. Her muscle mass increased, and she rose 10 kilograms in the course of a month. For the Sprinter Stakes, Aston Machan wouldn't be jockeyed by Yutaka Take. Take had already previously agreed to riding Suzuka Phoenix in the very same race. Phoenix,
Oh.
who was owned by Keiichi Nagai, the same owner of Silent Suzuka, had a long-standing relationship with Take. Due to the current circumstances, Machan would be jockeyed by Eiji Nakadate. This proved
Okay,
to
so
be
different
peculiar
person.
for many fans, seeing as Nakadate had been active over 10 years earlier and was the main jockey for the Great Filly Hishi Amazon. Even into the 2000s, he remained a top jockey, ranking among the top 10 nationwide. This mainly came as a shock, since at this point in his career, Nakadate primarily only rode local tracks. Nakadate
Oh,
had claimed
only
many wins
local.
in regional races, even achieving 100 wins in a year. But these days, it was rare to see him in a Central G1 race. Of course, this
Okay.
unexpected
No wonder.
addition garnered the question, why him? As conversation continued, skepticism quickly grew to excitement. Eventually, the common answer was reached. Nakadate would allow Aston Machan to take the lead and be a true front runner. You see, Nakadate wasn't only the jockey for Hishi Amazon, but another horse you're all too familiar with from Umamusume,
Wait,
a
really?
front-running horse that ran with everything they had.
Oh,
An
that
unprecedented
girl.
front-running strategy that would even defeat Rice Shower. Nakadate was the main
That
jockey
blue.
for Twin Turbo. and
Yeah,
despite
Twin
extra running,
Turbo.
He was well known as a master front runner. The team behind Machan fully intended to unleash her abundant sprinting ability, and utilizing one of Japan's best in the field, they had their sights set to win the Sprinter Stakes. Up until this
Did it
point,
work?
Machan had run cautiously, but that caution was thrown aside to allow Machan to do what she defiantly attempted so many times before, to run to her heart's content. There
Yeah,
was no
go!
turning back, and the team, alongside Ishizaka, had taken precaution to ensure this transition went smoothly. The track this time would be heavy due to rain, a condition requiring brute strength to overcome. Luckily for Aston Machan, her team had already trained her to possess that monstrous strength required.
Yeah.
As the gates opened, Longrin, jockeyed by Hirofumi Shi, exploded out of the gate, displaying a perfect start to the sprinter stakes.
Go,
Even
Aston
this start would be
Machan!
easily surpassed though. Unleashing all her power and unrestricted by her jockey, Machan made an incredible push to the front, easily surpassing and overtaking Longrin. This was shocking to everyone watching. This wasn't a debut race. This was a G1, with every horse being a top racer in terms of speed and acceleration.
Go, Machan!
Even with this roster of expert sprinters, Machan had surpassed them all.
Go, faster, faster!
Faster than them all. Even with the heavy track conditions, Machan led. Nakadate's guidance finally allowed Machan to fully thrive on the course. She maintained her lead uncontested, keeping 3 points
Yes!
between her and second position. This lasted until the final home stretch, where she'd extend that lead to 4 lengths.
Oh,
After seeing
4?
the gap, Machan crossed the finish line. From start to finish, she yielded her lead to no one. After so many
Yeah!
trials and so much hardship, Aston Machan had finally claimed her long-awaited G1 victory.
Congratulations,
As
Machan!
a new sprint queen. This race will also be a milestone for Nakadate, winning his first G1 race in 13 years. He later stated that he'd have his own strategy to have Machan win, but Ishizaka simply told him to bring out Machan's full power. No restrictions, no stress, just ride in a relaxed position. Nakadate was extremely grateful to Ishizaka for this request, allowing him to reignite the passion he had to race on a big stage. To say the response from Machan's team was emotional would be an understatement.
That
Nearly
is.
every single member were on the verge of tears from Machan's.
It must have felt really good to win, but also the fact that it brought back his passion for racing on a bigger stage. That's definitely probably the biggest compliment on the power of Machan, don't you think? Or maybe I'm the one that thinks that. Who knows? Either way, I like
Finally being able
Machan.
to see her full potential after so many roadblocks in her career. Even though she would never stand aside Vodka or Scarlet, she had made her mark, claiming
She
the big stage as the
did.
greatest stage for Japan sprinters.
She changed
Aston
someone's
Machan was
life.
still a 3-year-old horse, and it had been 15 years since a horse that young had claimed a victory at the Sprinter Stakes. Only Nishino Flower had done the same before in 1992, making Machan the second 3-year-old horse ever to win.
Yeah!
Machan was also younger than Flower
That
at
makes
this
me
time,
so happy.
making her the youngest horse in Japan's history to win, only elevating the accolades. Even with this monumental victory, it sadly will remain in the shadow of the 2 super fillies of
Gosh darn it, this is the one time that I feel so frustrated. Like, she actually made a huge accomplishment. No, what am I saying? Accomplishment. My English is not Englishing. And she's just gonna still be in the shadows. Like, she can't make her own, like, be separate from the other 2. Makes me so frustrated.
her generation. Sadly, as we've seen many times before, with this victory would come a tragic downfall.
No,
Her 10th
no,
race
no,
would be
no.
at the Swan Stakes, where alongside Nakadate, she'd devastate the audience and finish 14th. Would Machan
What
be the young
happened?
horse? Expectations were still high to see a turn in her career in the Hong Kong Sprint in December. Equine influenza forced Machan to withdraw, and once more, it was announced that she'd rest for the remainder of the year. On February
No.
10th, 2008, Aston Machan entered the Silk Road Stakes, this time accompanied once more by Yutaka Take. Instead of trying to ease into longer distances, Take would allow Machan to show her full strength in her preferred 1200 meter distance. Even with this once more being Machan's specialized aptitude, she'd ultimately place 10th. Even
10th?
Take was unsure of what had occurred. Unlike before, he hadn't felt anything off with Machan, nor did he act to hold the reins to command her to pace. Like previous evaluations,
So
Machan
strange.
was still young, and only showed potential to grow as her team planned to race her in the Taka
Maybe Machan's sick? No, that can't be it, or else they would have noticed, right?
Matsunomiya Kinen in March. Following this, her team had high hopes and planned to race her overseas. But that did not happen.
Oh no.
A newspaper article published in April 2008 would be headlined, Aston Machan, sudden death.
No, so she was
due
sick?
to acute heart failure. The article continued, Aston Machan, last year's Sprinter Stakes winner, who had been treated at the Retail Training Center Clinic for X colitis, died on April 21st, 2008.
Oh my
She had 11
gosh.
career starts and 5 wins, including 4 graded victories. X colitis is colitis of unknown causes. According to a JRA doctor, Kiminobu Yoshinari, mental factors such as stress are also considered. Only 5 to 6 horses per year develop it in the JRA.
Oh
Some
no.
recover, and some do not. Machan had received dedicated treatment for about 2 months, but the staff's wishes for her to recover would never be fulfilled. To say
Oh.
Machan's death hit her team hard would be a drastic understatement. No one took the loss more severely than Ishizaka, who was haunted by regret and blamed himself for Machan's premature passing. Her instability, though often seen as overexcitement, was a sign that Ishizaka truly feels he ignored. Though this video has shown clear care for Aston Machan, Ishizaka
Oh.
truly felt he could have done more to care for her, to properly address her mental instability. Reporter Daiki Matsunami will later publish just how much Machan's declining health impacted Ishizaka. A phone call had come to
Oh.
inform Matsunami of Machan's condition. At the time, he was with trainer Ishizaka, who heard each word relayed about Machan's declining health. Matsunami described his expression as solemn. Ishizaka truly loved Aston Machan, and even with
That's
the
so
struggle getting her
sad.
suited to certain aptitudes, he always tried his best to make sure everything ran smoothly. Matsunami would continue, contrasting this moment of sadness when Ishizaka relayed their plan to have Machan race in the Sprinter Stakes. Matsunami gleefully recalled Ishizaka's grin when he announced Nakadate's addition to the team. Some judged Ishizaka's choice with Machan's career, but ultimately, Matsunami stood behind his belief that Ishizaka was the best choice. This experience agreed.
At the very least, he cared deeply about Machan. I feel like I would have preferred that over someone who just not care at all. But I feel like for anyone who has pets or anything like that, it probably is understandable on how much it probably hit him hard and being like, I could have done better. Why didn't I do better? Why didn't I notice this? And why didn't I put focus on that? I think a lot of pet owners can understand that because you might have moments where you thought something was strange, but then just, thought, oh, maybe they're just being weird for today. But then in reality, they actually have something serious going on. So I understand Ishizaka's dilemma, but at that point, listening to what other people are saying about him, I think he did his best. It's just unfortunate that they didn't really catch it earlier, perhaps.
Would later influence the training of one of the strongest fillies Ishizaka would work with, Gentle Donna. Learning from the grief and regret of Aston Machan, he'd aim to look after Gentle Donna more intensely, ensuring such carelessness
Interesting.
wasn't
Okay.
allowed to happen again.
I'm glad he
Aston
learned
Machan,
from it, though.
Despite being born in a strong generation, one defined by Sunday Silence blood, would blaze her own path. She was described as a charming filly, and through her journey of hardship, had gained an idol-like popularity. As the years
Aw.
progressed, though, she began to fade to a distant memory, behind the shadow
That's
of
sad.
Scarlet and Vodka. This would be the reason Machan aims to never be forgotten in the world of Umamusume, the reason she's behind the shadow of Vodka and Scarlet, and why she appears so often looking directly into the camera. She wants you to remember her, The only way her legacy can continue is if she's
Those
never
glasses look good
forgotten.
on her.
A silent but desperate plea, masked behind a gleaming smile, and eyes longing for the adoration she received during her time racing. This was the story of Aston Machan, a filly who paved her own legacy, and against Japan's strongest, still left a mark on the racing world. Personified in Umamusume by a soft-spoken Uma with a deep compassion for her fans, and a yearning to never be forgotten.
Poor Machan.
Did you enjoy this video, and what was your favorite part? Be sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Thank you all for joining me, and as always, I will see you all in the next video.
Makes me so sad that she had to die in that way. I mean, on that note, you can also say that she, because of her, Gentile Donna had her achievements because of the care that she received that Machan obviously couldn't at the time. So maybe it's safe to say that she paved the way in terms of caring that she received. I guess you could say it that way, right? But also she was powerful in her own right. It's just she couldn't fight against the stress that she most likely dealt with. I think it didn't help that they kept focusing on long distance for her. And then as they said earlier about the overcorrection, so that probably gave a lot of stress to the horse too. But either way, I still do think that the trainer was still, like, they did their best. There's nothing they could have done that could have been better, especially since you don't know everything about the horse right away. So it's probably clearly a learning lesson for everyone as time goes by. And for some horses, they don't get the care that they need and the removal of restrictions that they need on time, which is why some of them probably become obscure in history or whatnot. I feel like she is kind of the case for that, but then instead of having the ability to recover and then make a new kind of achievement, she unfortunately is unable to fight against the stress and ends up dying, which makes me so sad. Well, if there is one thing, I don't think I'll forget her because of how sad her story is, but also how amazing she is at the sprinting, because that was exciting. That was probably my favorite part, just watching her just go ahead and beyond everyone else. That was so satisfying. But let me know what your favorites are down below, because I'm also curious about that. So, and also be sure to click on the playlist right here on the screen if you want to see more videos like this one. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!